So yeah, today's topic is going to be on the 10.2 update published last month, and just kind of going over what those things are and what you can look forward to. So there's a lot of things that I won't really be able to show because they're like performance updates and some things, but there are a few that I will be able to show. So one of them that we have is the Accudemia dashboard was redesigned. You may not noticed it because it's just a little bit of a style change from what we had before. But it was actually part of some accessibility improvements that we had put in the system. There's also some performance improvements. I'll explain what that is. And then also one of the new features recently, I think it was published the month before, was media checkouts. And we now have support for media checkout imports, or I should say media stock imports, like your all your media that you want to loan out to folks. So let's look at that. So, the dashboard, basically, when we're looking at that, I'll go ahead and show it off here in a second. We have, some different site color themes that were better for accessibility and things like that. So that'll be neat. There's some new icons and information that we didn't have there before. And all of this is basically to help improve the UI for, cleaner experience for our clients. I don't know if was somebody trying to speak.
No, I think somebody was just coming in.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if okay. But yeah, let me go ahead and open up my demo account and share that. So this is an admin login, of course. So it's going to look different depending on the users. Some of the improvements here we have, if there's nothing available in that module, it's going to go ahead and let you know that. And maybe there's some configuration that needs to take place in order for those to have things populated. I think before it was just kind of blank and left you kind of to guess like what's going on there. And you can see it's just a little cleaner of a look, as well as going through and making sure that, the text was easier to view for all people, as well as the modules were rethought as far as how much width each one should take up on that screen. And we have a bunch of different ones, and they're still controlled in the same area. So if you go to your control panel under administration and go to your appearance and themes, you can do this at the college level or each center. I'm just going to go to the college level for now. And the last section on each of those should be the homepage widgets. And this is where you can control the visibility for different types of users, as well as what order they show up. So you might want a different order. You may want to hide some things depending on if you use it or not. And, those are still controlled the same way. It's just an updated look for those on the homepage. Yeah, and I can still choose like, different centers or things to see different information depending on what I'm looking for. All right, so I'm going to minimize that. Okay, so the next part is the improved performance. So we've actually gone into the SQL Server and sped up the queries for things like loading of appointment time slots, the details when it pulls up like the student and tutor information, as well as the email reminders that are sent out. So all of that should be a lot quicker and improved on the way those go out. Like I said, this is something I can't really show off, but it's all work done on the back end, and this was all to make sure that the database is quick, and then also the pages are responsive when you're going to them. So, and the next one is our ADX tool, where we have the media checkout support, and let me go ahead and get that open real quick. So this is for our Accudemia Data Exchange app. And that should be opening here in a second. So there's our login page that looks pretty similar. And I just wanted to kind of show this off. So this is the app itself. You may not have as many jobs in here. Let me see. I think I created one. So this is our media stock import example. So I'm going to go ahead and edit the job here just so we can take a look at those new fields. So basically I still have to have a file with that pointed to. And just the same as our regular imports, it's a CSV file. And you can see I have different headings for all the different things that I'd be able to import. So if you think about it, if you actually go and create these manually in the system, there's certain things that we need. So we need like the media's ID. So this would be like the barcode or whatever you're scanning when you're checking those out or loaning those materials out. And then you have the media's title. So the media title would just be whatever you want to name it so that when you're pulling it up in the system, you'd be able to see that was checked out. Then we have a few different things, and I actually have a few fields that maybe are extra in this file, but I just wanted to show all the fields that are available. So you can actually update either the media items checkout period if it has like a special checkout period that's different from the defaults. One of the other things, you could actually exclude this information if you're going to set that on the type of media that it is. And so the media types have to be created using these other mappings. It's called media types. So the first four mappings are basically regarding the item itself, and the last three here that we see before and after the center here, um, which this just assigns it to the center that the media belongs to. But these ones are actually defining more of the media type. So you have some examples here I have is like textbooks or calculators. Some might have different types of media that can be loaned out for different periods of time. And so we have the duration and then the time unit. So you could have things like, 1 day, 2 days, hours, months. I don't know if we have years in there, but I think it's hours, uh, days, and weeks. So, but it should be pretty similar to the import, or not import, but when you're creating them. So we could actually see those time periods there as well. And you'll just use like the fully spelt out word, so days, hours, weeks there. And just keep in mind too, when you do this, the center name has to be exact match for what you have in the software. So it's going to process it real quick, and it found 3 different media types. So in this one, I have textbooks, calculators, and book. And then we also have for 2 different centers that I was uploading. So I have a reading center and a skills and tutoring center. And then the media is up here. These are the media items, the individual items. You can see how those will, so you can see I have a book here. I have some calculators. They all have an ID number that's going to get uploaded. This could be like the barcode or whatever I'm scanning. And if you don't use scanners, you can just, have it be like whatever numbers you would type in to reference that media. And that's pretty much it. There's no special features on the import behaviors. And then I just would give this job a name, finish it out. And whenever I'm ready, I would go ahead and run that import. Now you can see I've done that a few different times, so I don't need to, but yeah, we could. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay, so there we go. It succeeded. And if I wanted to just view that in my server, how that happened, I'd go up to Tools and went ahead and opened up this page, View Execution Details, and you can see that it completed at this time. And just to be extra sure, I would go to Centers, Media Checkout, and Media Items here. So you can see, everything that I had before, along with some of those new titles that were uploaded. Cool. All right, so close out of that for a minute. And this takes us to our last item. So the last item is something that not everybody maybe would notice, but this is actually for accessibility. We had some concerns raised, so we went through and reviewed the entire site, doing another accessibility check recently, and we did things to improve stuff like something as simple as like the forgot password CAPTCHA is using a new version so that it's more accessible for all users, whether they have any of the, disabilities listed here. So we have that. We also took care of any descriptive text that was needed for links on the page, images or icons. Those all have something as a placeholder. Um, and basically kind of corrected some things where maybe when we were developing them, it didn't, seem like it needed that, but we did, maybe overlooked it too. The other thing is fixing the color contrast. So we've actually seen this quite a bit in some of our pages that I've shown. So there, everything should be a lot easier to read, even, if you don't have necessarily a need for these things, it should be easier for everyone to read. And we also had to go through and make sure that everything on the page made sense as far as like tab orders and, structure hierarchy of the page. So like if you're using a screen reader, it can go ahead and help you along the way and just make your experience a lot easier. So that's really everything that I have. So if you have any questions regarding the topics that I brought up in the 10.2 update, or really anything regarding academia, we can go ahead and have you do that. You just click on the chat bubble in Teams and then just ask your questions in that chat field.
All right, I'm not seeing any questions about this topic specifically, so I think we can move on. Oh, wait. Okay, so Jamie has a question. Looks like it might be a more general question, which is fine. Let's move on to that. This question isn't about the update directly, but is there a way to create a fake student account to see academia as a student sees it? For example, I can never check if the drop-in link is working because it would always say the center is closed since I'm not a student. And Nick, I know we've talked about this before. It kind of depends on what kind of login system they have, right?
Yeah, so if you guys are using like a form of single sign-on, testing the links directly are going to be a little harder because single sign-on is going to want to redirect you over to your school site, and they'd have to be a real, student or user of that system in order to get in and then be directed to whatever link that is. So the link testing will be a little hard. I will tell you though, you can create like a dummy user, like, just fake account. And there is a backdoor to log in. I can put it in the chat real quick. Of course, it's going to change depending on your domain, but should be pretty similar. So I'm just going to put in like brackets, like your domain or whatever. But basically, this will kind of be a backdoor to log in. Once you're already logged in through that backdoor, though, you can paste the link that you're trying to test into that same browser's URL up there, and then it should take you, because you're already logged in, it won't, have to log you in. It should take you right to that page that you're looking to test or, see what happens for the student. So, and I don't know if that was easy to follow, but here, let me just type in this. Okay, so this is a bypass for your school's website, and so basically where it says your domain in there, and here, I don't know if I can, I'm just going to bring it up in Notepad real quick and maybe try to make it bigger. Okay, so here we go. So we have this, and so basically you're just going to change out your domain with this right here. And in that part of the link, so if you're my college or whatever is your domain, you would just put that right there, and then log in as that student through that link, and you would just use the ID and password that you actually set up in Accudemia. So here, let me just show you in Accudemia how that would work. I'd go into my users under administration, user management users, right there, and create a new account. And I'll call this student. I always like naming the first name, like what role they are, just so that way when they're logged in, I always see the first name. So pretty cool. I'm going to call them student McTesty. And we're going to give them an ID and a password. And this might be hard for me because I don't know which ones I've used before. Okay, that seems like a good one. And I'm going to go ahead and set them a password in the software. Make sure to check whatever role it is, like student. And if you need to, like maybe you need to register them for a course or something, make sure to enroll them in a few things. I'm just choosing the ones that show up for me real quick and then save it. So I've got my student in there, and I've probably done this a few times. Yeah, so I have like student tester, student make testy. Okay. And so then I would go ahead and now I don't have this issue because I don't have single sign-on set up. I'm going to uninstall the kiosk too because I was a kiosk. But so for me, I just have to log out. It takes me back to this login page. But if I wanted to go to that kind of SSO bypass, I just make sure that that was in there. Oh, and I gotta be able to type it right. There we go. And so you'll get something a little different. It just has like literally like the login information, and that's it. So you can see I'm in as that student. If I click on account, you'll see student McTesty. And now that I'm in there, if there was a link I wanted to test, because I've kind of bypassed the login part, I could go ahead and paste that link in here. Now, I actually have in my announcements, I published a click here to join the waiting line virtually for this center. So I can actually just click here, and that basically, because I'm already logged in, the link should work, and I could go ahead and test this. So this was like if I'm doing a virtual walk-in kind of thing where I have like tutors waiting on standby. So I could go ahead and sign in, pick what I'm coming in for. Notice because it was a virtual link, I'm only getting presented with virtual options as well. So I'll go into that, and then I'll pick, whichever course I'm registered to. Yep. Okay, you're in line. So at this point, the like I'd have to be in as the tutor, but I'm basically in the waiting line, and a staff member will be assigned to me, and then I'll connect to their meeting platform. If you don't have the waiting line enabled, sometimes if you have them choose the staff member directly, it'll just connect them with the staff that they've, you know, selected on their way in. But the student can also exit the wait list. If they ever joined one of these virtual sessions and they hadn't signed out, let's say their computer shut off or something, this would actually be replaced with an option to reconnect or, things like that as well. So we did have some of those like contingency plans in there as well. And if I log out and go back in as an admin and I go to centers, manage center, make sure to select that center. I can see the students waiting there, student McTesty here. And this is basically what the tutor would do, would be like sign in the student, make sure they select themselves. So they can either click the search or type in the name. And they could actually, right here, because it's actually using my Zoom information, I can actually connect to Zoom first before I hit sign in. If I accidentally hit sign in, I just have to connect to Zoom how I normally would. So, but yeah, then sign in the student. And that's kind of how that's supposed to work. So, and this admin actually is a tutor as well. You can see they have my schedule here. So it's like a tutor admin role that I have. So And then at the end, they just would either sign them out, or the student has actually a sign out option if they go back to the Accudemia, whichever is easier, whether it's easier for the tutor to click sign out here. The tutor gets a little more options. They can sign them out now, they can give them a set time, or sign them out at a specific time. So, and then they go to recently signed out, which they'll stick around for about an hour. Let's say I had to complete some session assessments or comments on that session. So, yep. So basically what we're doing is bypassing the SSO first to get in and then testing the link. So if I had the link to that, I would just maybe have that next in the document so I could try that out.
Perfect. So if anybody hasn't taken that before, that helps us make sure that we're keeping these sessions relevant and informative for you. So we want to make sure that these are helpful for you when we have those every month. But again, as a reminder, as Nick mentioned up top, as I mentioned up top, we are not going to be having our session next month, but we will be back in November. But as always, if you need us, you can reach us. Our emails are right there on the screen. All right, so I am going to go ahead and close out for today. And thank you, everyone. Thank you again, Natalie. Thank you, Nick. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your week.
Thanks, everyone. Take
Thank
care.
you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.